Sangal is back with a new CS roster. Sangal had a really successful 2024. They qualified to the Shanghai RMR, placed top 4 at the REST Regional Champions event in Serbia, and beat FaZe, Heroic, and FlyQuest on LAN at ESL Pro League Season 20. All of these achievements gave a great opportunity for the players to further progress their careers. Jota was recalled to Eternal Fire as he was on loan from their academy team, and the trio of LNZ, Youngster, and xFloud all got the call up to Heroic. It was time for Sangal and their head coach Yumpy to rebuild and create a new roster. The first move Sangal made was bringing in Tugux to be their assistant coach. Tugux was an ex-professional German player with Turkish descent, playing for Mousesports in Source and Space Soldiers for nearly 2 years in CSGO alongside Xantares and Paz. Tugux transitioned from player to coach in early 2020, where he was the head coach for Big Academy. He even had a stint coaching Sangal back in 2022 when the organisation featured their first ever international squad with players such as Scrunk, Corey and QB. Moving on to the players, let's start with Calix, the hometown man, a Turkish player representing a Turkish organisation. He is easily the most experienced player on this team, making his HLTV debut over 10 years ago. Calix is a big site anchor on CT side and plays as a passive lurk on T side. He has played on and off with Eternal Fire since late 2021 and was only recently benched by them at the beginning of this year. While everyone remembers Calix playing under Space Soldiers and Dark Passage, he actually has played for a few international squads across his career. The first was Wendigo. Yeah, remember that team? The team that won WESG and took home 500,000 USD? Well, in May 2019, Calix would stand in for Blocker and play with the Bulgarians at DreamHack Masters Dallas. Later on, Wendigo moved slightly European with Calix, and he ended up playing alongside guys like Haji, Mirbit, Poison, and Bubble. Not long after Wendigo, another international offer came. This time, he was making the move to North America with Envy. He ended up playing 74 maps on HLTV with them, and was signed for over a year. Most European Tier 2 teams played that amount of maps in a month. Calix was working with absolute scraps on this roster too, playing with NA players such as Ryan, Moose and Nifty, with a couple of European names such as Mihu, Legia, and for one event, Flashpoint 2, with UK Thomas. Moving on to the only duo on the team, it's the Eklot boys in Kriaz and Blitz. These two played nearly 300 maps on HLTV together and were playing under the Eklot banner for all of 2024. With the players that Eklot had, I'd actually consider last year to be fairly successful for them. They won 5 local LANs, beating teams like Sinners, Unity or Sampi in any of those grand finals. Eklot was so close to qualifying to the Shanghai Major, having 3 match points versus Fnatic in the 2-2 Swiss game in EU RMR A. An absolute heartbreak for what could have been history making. While Kriaz has only been an in-game leader for around a year, Sangal are entrusting him to lead this team and rise up the ranks. Kriaz has been another Mr. Worldwide in Tier 2, playing in China with Wings Up, playing with CIS players such as Mo, Norbert and Nealon on K23, and in plenty of English-speaking teams like Epsilon, BP5, Finest, and of course most recently, Eklot. Blitz on the other hand is a high-fragging and explosive star player in Tier 2. As any Romanian player does, Blitz made a name for himself on Nexus at the start of his career. From there he went on to play with Enterprise throughout 2022 alongside Matties, the E-Live, Mangus and Finnish rifler Miltsy. His next international opportunity was with the Let Us Cook boys, led by Snacks and many known Tier 2 names such as Sound, Friend, Bialy, Han, Sly, Morels and Demho. This is Blitz's chance to continue alongside Kriaz and push Sangal towards the top of Tier 2. The final rifler is Beanox, and I rate this Polish player massively. He spent all of last year grinding hard with Permitter, playing nearly 500 maps on HLTV, the most out of any team in the world in 2024. Permitter were an incredibly inconsistent team that honestly didn't achieve much outside of maybe a top 8 at the ISF World Championship. However, Beanox was easily Permitter's best player by a country mile, and he stood out against the rest. The one small asterisk though is that Beanox has barely played with non-Polish players on an international team. The only international squad that he had played for was Pompa for around 4 months in late 2023. During that time, he played with the ex-Let Us Cook boys and with Emmy when Snacks got picked up by Gamer Legion. Under Pompa, Beanox got to play one LAN in Poland where he beat 500 and Eklot twice to win the entire event. Blitz and Beanox together look like a real threatening rifle duo. But what about the AWPer? The final piece to the puzzle is Danist. Now, Danist received a massive opportunity very early in his career when he launched the brand new BetBoom roster. He played for 6 months alongside Nafany, Siren, Zorti, and Chiron. Wait, hang on. Zorti's an AWPer. Danist was actually rifling on BetBoom and only started AWPing again once he was kicked from the team. For anyone that followed Tier 2 closely last year, you would have heard of Team Space. They were the CC Demons, and by Demons, I mean going out regularly in main Swiss, but playing every CCT event under the sun. The team itself was pretty average, but Danist looked insane on this roster, dropping massive numbers consistently and trying to push them over the line to just scrape away a few wins. A big challenge that 22-year-old Danist has to face now is playing in an international English-speaking team, as he's never done that before in his career. On paper, this new Sangal team is exciting. It has depth from hard-hitting players like Beanox, Blitz, and Danist, while also having a veteran-to-land experienced player in Calix and being led by a young and hungry in-game leader. To wrap everything up, I want to make a mention to Yumpy, Sangal's head coach. He was brought in early last year and was able to push Sangal into being a top Tier 2 squad with impressive achievements. I have full faith in Yumpy to once again get the most out of his players and take Sangal back to the top.